Welcome back to Everyday English Stories. Before we start today, I want to ask you something personal. How long have you been learning English? 1 year? 2 years? Maybe more. Now, here is the real question. Can you speak English comfortably right now? If the answer is no, stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, you will understand exactly why. And more importantly, you will understand exactly what to do about it. Today we are talking about the biggest secret of English fluency. It is not a grammar rule. It is not a new app. It is not a special book. The secret is this: you must talk in English every single day. Not only read, not only listen, not only study, you must speak. Today you will learn 10 powerful lessons about why speaking every day changes everything. These lessons are simple, but they are life-changing. Stay until Lesson 10, because Lesson 10 is something most people never think about, and it might be the most important thing you hear today. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Talking builds real fluency. I want you to imagine something. Imagine a person who studies English for 2 years. Every day, they read grammar books. They memorize vocabulary lists. They watch English videos for hours. Now imagine this person standing in front of someone who asks, "Hey, how are you? What do you do?" What happens? The person freezes. Their mind goes blank. Their heart beats fast. They say almost nothing. Does this sound familiar? This is one of the most common and painful experiences for English learners, and it happens because of one reason. They learned English, but they did not practice talking in English. These are two very different things. Here is the truth you must understand. Fluency does not live inside a grammar book. Fluency does not live inside your notebook. Fluency lives in your mouth, in your voice, in real conversations. English is not only knowledge. English is a skill, and every skill in the world becomes strong through one thing only: practice. Think about swimming. Can you learn to swim by reading a book about water? No, you must enter the water. Your body must feel it. You must move again and again. The water teaches you what books never can. Speaking English is exactly the same. Your mouth must practice. Your voice must work. Your brain must connect words to real speaking. And this only happens when you actually speak. Now, many people have a wrong idea about fluency. They think fluency means speaking perfect English. No mistakes. Perfect grammar, perfect accent. This is not true. Fluency means speaking smoothly, naturally, without stopping every 2 seconds, without too much fear. And this kind of fluency only comes from one place: daily talking. At first, your speaking will feel slow. You will stop in the middle of sentences. You will forget words. You will make mistakes. This is completely normal. Every single fluent speaker on this planet started exactly like you. But here is what separates fluent speakers from people who never improve. Fluent speakers did not stop. They felt uncomfortable and continued anyway. They made mistakes and continued anyway. Most learners do something different. They speak once or twice. They feel embarrassed, and then they go silent. They return to studying, because studying feels safe. But silence is dangerous. Silence stops growth completely. Here is something your brain does naturally. Your brain learns through repetition. When you speak a sentence many times, your brain remembers it faster. Your mouth becomes comfortable. Your speaking becomes automatic. Think about the sentence, "How are you?" After saying it many times, in many situations, you stop thinking about it. You just say it, naturally, without effort. This is how fluency is built. Not in one big moment, but in small daily conversations, sentence by sentence, day by day. Think about two learners. Learner A studies grammar for 2 hours every day but never speaks. Learner B knows less grammar but speaks English every day, even with many mistakes. After 6 months, who speaks better? Learner B. Because speaking builds fluency, not silent studying. So here is your first habit. Speak English every single day. Even if you are alone. Talk about your room. Talk about what you see outside your window. Talk about how you feel. I am sitting at my desk. I feel a little tired. The weather looks cloudy today. I want to finish my work and then rest. Simple sentences. But every sentence you speak is one step closer to real fluency. And remember this always. You do not speak after you become fluent. You become fluent by speaking. Lesson 2. Talking removes fear. When you think about speaking English in front of someone, what do you feel? For most people, the feeling is fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of sounding wrong. Fear of not finding the right words. Fear of what people will think. This fear is one of the biggest walls between English learners and English fluency. Many people carry this wall for years. They understand English, they know vocabulary, they know grammar. But when it is time to speak, the wall appears. Their confidence disappears. Their mind goes blank. If this is you, hear this clearly. You are not alone. This happens to almost every learner. It is not a sign that you are bad at English. It is a sign that you are human. But here is something very important. Fear does not go away by waiting. Fear does not go away by studying more grammar. Fear goes away by facing it, by walking directly toward it. Think about someone who is afraid of water. If they never go near water, the fear stays. It grows. But if they start slowly, first touching the water, then standing in shallow water, then practicing more and more, the fear gets smaller. Slowly, but it gets smaller. Speaking English works exactly the same way. Every time you speak, your brain receives important information. Your brain notices, I spoke. Something scary happened, but I survived. Nothing terrible happened. I can do this. And every time your brain receives this message, your fear becomes a little smaller. Your confidence grows a little stronger. The problem is that many learners wait for fear to disappear first. They think, when I stop being afraid, I will start speaking. But this is completely backwards. The fear disappears because you speak, not before you speak. Speaking comes first. Confidence follows. Think about a baby learning to walk. The baby falls again and again, but the baby never waits to feel ready. The baby just keeps trying, and one day, walking becomes natural. Your speaking journey is the same. You will struggle at first. You will stop in the middle of sentences. You will forget words at the worst moments. This is not failure. This is learning. Here is something else very important. Most people are not judging you as much as you think. When you speak imperfect English, your brain imagines everyone thinking, oh, this person's English is so bad. But in reality, most people are thinking about themselves, their own day, their own problems, their own life. And even the people who do notice your mistakes, most of them respect you for trying. Most people understand that learning a new language is difficult. It takes real courage. Silence makes fear stronger. Action makes fear weaker. Every small conversation matters. Even the smallest exchanges help. Excuse me. Thank you. Could you say that again, please? Every time you use your voice, you train your confidence. Every time you open your mouth, the wall becomes a little thinner. And one day, the wall breaks. And when it breaks, your real English begins. Lesson 3. Talking trains your mouth. Here is something most people never think about. Speaking English is not only a mental activity, it is also a physical activity. Your mouth must learn English. Your tongue must learn English. Your lips must learn English. This is not a metaphor. This is real. Speaking is a physical skill, and like every physical skill, it requires physical training. Think about a piano player who only reads music but never touches the piano. What happens when they sit at the piano to play? Their fingers are slow, their hands feel uncomfortable, their muscles have never practiced. It is the same with your mouth and English. You might understand many English words. You might know what sentences mean, but when you try to speak, your mouth feels slow, your tongue feels heavy, your pronunciation feels unclear. Why? Because your mouth has not practiced enough. Every language uses the mouth differently. Different sounds, different positions of the tongue, different rhythm. Your mouth grew up with your native language. It knows those movements perfectly. But English movements feel new and strange. The only way to train your mouth is to use your mouth. Think about someone learning to play guitar. They can read music. They can watch guitar videos for hours, but until their fingers press the strings again and again, they cannot really play. Speaking is your strings. Your voice is your instrument. You must play it every day. At first, your mouth may feel stiff with English sounds. Some words may feel difficult. Some sounds may feel almost impossible. This is your mouth learning new movements. Be patient with it. The good news is that your mouth learns quickly with daily practice. Words start coming out more smoothly. Sounds that felt impossible begin to feel possible. Sentences that once required great effort begin to feel lighter. English also has a specific rhythm, a specific music. Words connect together in a particular way. Native speakers do this naturally because they have been doing it since childhood. You can develop this too, but only through listening and repeating, not through silent reading. Here is a very helpful practice. Take a short sentence from a video or audio. Listen to it carefully. Notice the rhythm. Notice how the words connect. Then repeat it. Not just the words, the sound, the speed, the flow. Do this again and again. This is not just speaking practice. This is physical training for your mouth. Another powerful habit is reading out loud. Every day, even for just 10 minutes. Take a short paragraph. Read it slowly and clearly. Focus on every sound. This trains your mouth to become comfortable with English. Talk about what you see right now. This is my chair. The sky is blue today. I can see some clouds. Simple, but real training for your mouth. Your brain learns English, but your mouth must learn English too. Lesson 4. Talking helps you think faster. Picture this situation. You are talking with someone in English. They ask you a simple question. What did you do last weekend? And what happens? Your brain starts working. First, you think of the answer in your native language. Then you start translating it into English. Then you try to remember the grammar. Then you try to put the sentence together. Then you say it. And by the time you are ready, the conversation has moved on. This is one of the most frustrating experiences for English learners. You know the answer. You just cannot say it fast enough. The reason is translation. Your brain is doing too many steps. Fluent speakers do something completely different. They hear the question in English, and their brain connects directly to English words. No translation, no switching languages. Just direct thinking in English. How do you reach this level? Only one way. Daily speaking practice. Every time you speak English, your brain practices speed. Your brain builds direct connections between thoughts and English words. Slowly, the translation step gets shorter, then shorter. Then it almost disappears. Think about your native language. When someone asks you a question in your language, do you translate before answering? No, you just answer. The words come automatically. That is what daily speaking practice builds in English. Automatic thinking, direct connection. At first, your thinking will feel slow. You will pause often. You will search for words. This is normal. Your brain is building new roads, and building takes time, but every conversation makes those roads wider. Every speaking session makes your thinking faster. Here is a practical habit that is very powerful. Ask yourself questions in English and answer immediately. Just answer quickly with simple words. What am I doing right now? I am studying English. How do I feel? I feel focused. What do I want to do later? I want to eat and rest. Simple answers, but this trains your brain to react quickly in English. And fast reaction is exactly what real conversation needs. Here is another important truth. Fast thinking reduces fear. When your brain responds quickly, you feel more confident. You stop overthinking. You stop worrying about every word. But when your brain is slow, fear grows. You feel pressure. So daily speaking practice gives you two gifts at the same time: faster thinking and less fear. Choose a simple topic right now and speak about it for 1 minute. Don't stop. Don't worry about mistakes. Just keep speaking. This forces your brain to work quickly, and over time, quick thinking in English becomes your new normal. Lesson 5. Talking improves your pronunciation. Many learners want one thing very much. They want to sound clear. They want people to understand them easily. They want their English to sound natural. But at the same time, they are afraid to speak because their pronunciation is not perfect yet. Do you see the problem? Pronunciation does not improve through silence. Pronunciation improves through speaking. Think about a singer. A singer wants to sing beautifully. What does a singer do to improve? They sing every day. Not perfectly at first, but they sing. Their voice becomes stronger. Their control improves. English pronunciation works the same way. The more you speak, the more natural your pronunciation becomes. Good pronunciation comes from repetition, not from perfection. The more times you say a word, the more your mouth learns the correct movement. Listening and repeating is one of the most powerful tools for pronunciation. When you hear natural English, your brain notices many things: the stress, the rhythm, the way sounds connect, the music of the language. When you then repeat those sounds, your brain and mouth work together to copy what they heard. This method, called shadowing, is very effective. Listen to a sentence, then say it exactly. Copy the speed, the sound, the flow. Do this every day, even for 5 minutes. Your pronunciation will improve faster than you expect. Many learners think, I will speak when my pronunciation is perfect. But this thinking creates a circle that never ends. Your pronunciation becomes perfect by speaking. It cannot become perfect while you wait in silence. Your goal is not to sound like a native speaker from day one. Your goal is to communicate clearly. If the other person understands you, your English is working. Here is a habit that helps many learners. Record yourself speaking. Use your phone. Speak for 1 minute about any topic. Then listen. This practice shows you things you cannot notice while speaking. Which words are unclear, which sounds need more work, where your rhythm breaks. Every word you say is practice. Every sentence you speak is training. And every day of practice brings your pronunciation one step closer to natural and clear. Lesson 6. Talking helps you remember vocabulary. Have you ever had this frustrating experience? You study new words. You feel like you learned them. Then 1 week later, they are gone, completely gone. You try to remember and find nothing. This happens to almost every English learner, and it feels very discouraging. But there is a reason, and there is a solution. Your brain has one very clear rule about memory. Your brain keeps what you use and forgets what you don't. When you only read a word, you recognize it. When you only listen to a word, you understand it. But when you speak a word, use it in real sentences, connect it to real thoughts and feelings, you own it. This is the difference between passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. Passive vocabulary is words you recognize. Active vocabulary is words you can use. And only speaking builds active vocabulary. Let me give you a simple example. You learn the word nervous. You read the definition, you understand it, but you never use it. 2 weeks later, the word is probably gone. Now imagine something different. You learn nervous, and immediately you say, I feel nervous before speaking English. I felt nervous at my job interview. Sometimes I get nervous before a test. Now that word is connected to real feelings, real memories, real experiences. Your brain holds onto it much more strongly because your brain sees that this word is important to you, that you use it, that it connects to your life. This is why speaking makes vocabulary stay in your memory. When you speak English, your brain works very hard at the same time. It searches for vocabulary. It builds sentences. It chooses grammar. It controls your mouth and pronunciation. All of this together creates very strong memory connections. Silent studying only uses a small part of your brain, but speaking uses everything. And the more of your brain that is involved, the stronger the memory becomes. Here is a very practical habit. Every time you learn a new word, use it in speaking immediately. Don't wait. Don't just write it in your notebook. Say it in a real sentence about something real in your life. Learn the word exhausted. Say, I am exhausted today. I was exhausted after work yesterday. I look exhausted right now. 3 sentences. The word is now connected to your life. Your brain will keep it. Another powerful habit is talking about your day in English. Every evening, spend 3 minutes speaking about what happened. This morning I woke up at 7. I had coffee and started work. I felt tired in the afternoon. Now I am studying English. Simple words, but you are using your vocabulary actively, and active use is the strongest form of memory training that exists. Your brain remembers what your mouth uses, so use your vocabulary by speaking it every day. Lesson 7. Talking builds real confidence. Here is a belief that many English learners have. Maybe you have it too. When I become confident, I will start speaking English. This sounds logical, but it is completely backwards. Confidence does not come before speaking. Confidence comes from speaking. Confidence is the result of action, not the reason for action. Think about how confidence works in real life. A person starts a new job. On the first day, they feel nervous and unsure. Everything feels uncertain. But they keep going. They do the work. They make some mistakes. They learn. They try again. After 3 months, something is different. They feel comfortable. They feel capable. They feel confident. Did the confidence appear before they started working? No. The confidence grew because they kept working. English is exactly the same. At the beginning, speaking feels scary. Your heart beats faster. Your mind feels blank. You worry about every word. This is normal. This is expected. But every time you speak, your brain receives an important message. I spoke. I survived. The conversation happened. Nothing terrible occurred. I can do this. And every time your brain receives this message, something shifts. Fear becomes a little smaller. Trust in yourself becomes a little stronger. Now here is something that stops many learners from building this confidence. They judge themselves too harshly. My grammar was wrong. My pronunciation was not perfect. I forgot that word. I am so bad at English. But this kind of thinking destroys confidence before it can grow. Fluent speakers are not confident because they are perfect. They are confident because they are comfortable being imperfect. They make mistakes and they continue. They forget a word and they find another way. They speak with an accent and they don't apologize for it. That is real confidence, not perfection. Comfort with imperfection. Here is something powerful that happens when you speak English regularly. You start to see yourself differently. At first, you see yourself as a person learning English, someone who is not ready yet. But after many conversations, your self-image changes. Slowly, you start to see yourself as a person who speaks English. Not perfectly, but really, actually speaks it. And this change in how you see yourself changes everything. When you believe, I am someone who speaks English, you speak more, you take more opportunities, you feel less fear. And because you speak more, your English grows faster. Here is a simple daily practice. Every day, speak about yourself for just 2 or 3 minutes. Your day, your feelings, your plans. Today was a long day. I worked hard. I feel tired, but satisfied. Tomorrow I want to go for a walk. I think the weather will be nice. This is not complicated, but you are using your voice. You are training your confidence. You are building the identity of someone who speaks English. Do this every day. Watch what happens to your confidence over the next month. Lesson 8. Mistakes are your best teachers. I need to tell you something that might feel uncomfortable at first. If you want to become fluent in English, you must make more mistakes, not fewer, more. I know this sounds strange. Every learner wants to avoid mistakes. Every learner feels embarrassed when they make one. Every learner has the same fear. If I make mistakes, people will think my English is bad. But here is the truth. Every fluent English speaker made thousands of mistakes on the way to fluency. Thousands. Wrong grammar, wrong pronunciation, wrong vocabulary, wrong sentences. They did not become fluent despite making mistakes. They became fluent because they kept speaking through the mistakes. Mistakes are not signs of failure. Mistakes are signs that you are trying, and trying is the only way to improve. When you make a mistake while speaking English, the same thing happens. Your brain notices. Your brain adjusts. Your brain stores the information for next time. But this can only happen if you speak. If you stay silent, your brain receives no information, no adjustment, no improvement. Silence feels safe, but silence teaches nothing. Speaking feels uncomfortable, but speaking teaches everything. Here is a very important mindset to develop. Instead of thinking, I made a mistake, think, I found something to improve. This is not just positive thinking, this is accurate thinking. For example, maybe you say, yesterday I go to the market. The grammar is not correct, but your brain heard it, and when you hear the correct version later, yesterday I went to the market, something inside your brain recognizes the difference. Slowly, the correct form becomes natural. But this only happens because you spoke, because you made the mistake and your brain learned from it. Here is another truth about mistakes. They help you remember. When you make a mistake, feel a little embarrassed, and then learn the correct form, your brain remembers that lesson very strongly. The emotion of the moment makes the memory stronger. This is why real conversations are better teachers than grammar books. Books show you rules, but real conversations give you experience, and experience creates real learning. How should you handle mistakes while speaking? Very simply. Don't panic. Don't stop. Don't apologize many times. Just notice it calmly and continue. If you want to correct yourself, do it simply. I go. Sorry, I went to the meeting. Short correction. Then continue. Keep the conversation moving. Remember this always. Communication matters more than perfection. If the other person understands you, you succeeded. Choose to speak more, make more mistakes, improve faster. This is the path. Lesson 9. Speaking makes English feel like home. Let me ask you this. When you speak your native language, how does it feel? Normal, natural, easy. You don't think about grammar. You don't translate. You don't search for words. You just speak. The words come. The sentences form. It feels like breathing. Now think about English. Does it feel that easy? For most learners, English still feels like a foreign place. A place they are visiting. A place where they must be careful, where they must think before every step. This feeling is very common, but it is not permanent. English can feel like home too. The difference between your native language and English is simple. You have lived with your native language every day for your whole life. It became part of you. It became automatic. English can become the same, but only if you bring it into your daily life. Only if you use it every day. Only if you speak it, even in small moments. Many learners make one specific mistake. They study English for 1 hour, then close the book and return completely to their native language. English stays outside of their life, a separate activity, a school subject, something they do, not something they are. And because of this, English never becomes natural, because natural comes from daily use. Natural comes from connection. Natural comes from English being part of your real life. When you speak English every day, something slowly happens. Your brain stops treating English as something difficult and foreign. It starts treating English as something familiar, as a normal way to express yourself. At first, even simple sentences feel like work. How was your day? Requires thought. But after speaking this sentence many times, in many moments, it becomes automatic. You don't think about it anymore. You just say it, naturally, easily. This is the feeling you are working toward. And speaking every day is the only road that leads there. Here is something very interesting. When you speak English about your real life, your real feelings, your real experiences, something powerful happens. English becomes emotionally connected to your life. Not just words in a book, real words connected to real moments. I felt really happy today. This is not just an English sentence anymore. It is a true description of something you really felt. And that connection makes English more real, more alive, more natural. There is a simple practice that helps enormously. During small moments in your day, speak English quietly to yourself. While making tea, while walking, while looking outside. The sun is coming out. I am making coffee. I have a lot of work today. I want to finish early and read a book this evening. Nobody hears you. There is no pressure, just you and English, in a normal, real moment. This is how English stops feeling foreign. This is how English starts feeling like home. Lesson 10. Speaking changes who you are. This is the lesson I told you to wait for, and I hope you stayed, because this one is different from everything else. We talked about fluency. We talked about confidence. We talked about fear, memory, pronunciation, speed, and mistakes. All of these are important. All of these are real. But behind all of them, there is something deeper, something that controls all of it. Your identity. What you believe about yourself controls everything you do. If you believe I am not good at English, you will avoid speaking. You will feel nervous in every conversation. You will give up faster. You will stay small. But if you believe I am someone who speaks English, everything changes. You take opportunities. You speak even when it is hard. You get back up after difficult conversations. You keep going. The problem is that most people do not choose their identity consciously. It just develops from past experiences, from things people said to you, from failures you remember, from the story you tell yourself. Maybe you have a story that says, I am not smart enough for English, or people like me don't speak foreign languages well, or I tried before and it didn't work. It is not for me. These stories feel like facts, but they are not facts. They are old interpretations, old beliefs, and beliefs can change. Here is how speaking changes your identity. Every time you have a real English conversation, something happens inside you. Small, but real. Your brain records, I spoke English today. I did it. At first, this feeling is small, but it is real, and it is different from studying. Because studying says, I am learning English, but speaking says, I speak English. Those are two completely different identities. As you speak more, the recordings add up. One conversation, then another, then 10, then 50. And slowly your inner picture of yourself changes. You stop seeing yourself as a student of English. You start seeing yourself as a speaker of English. This shift is more powerful than any grammar lesson, because when you see yourself as a speaker, you act like a speaker. You look for chances to speak. You feel less fear. You trust yourself more. And because you act like a speaker, your English grows faster. The identity creates the action. The action creates the result. The result confirms the identity. And the cycle goes upward. Now I want to be honest with you. This change does not happen overnight. It takes time. It takes many small conversations, many small moments of choosing to speak instead of staying silent. But I want you to know something. The change is already beginning, right now, because you watched this video until the end, because you chose to learn today, because something inside you already believes that better English is possible for you. And that belief, small as it might feel right now, is the beginning of everything. So here is what I want you to do right now, not tomorrow, right now. Speak 3 sentences about today. Out loud, in English, about anything. Your morning, how you feel, what you want to do. 3 sentences, that is all. Because those 3 sentences are not just practice, they are the beginning of a new story about who you are. A person who speaks English. A person who takes action. A person who grows. Before you go, I want to leave you with one thought. Everything in this video came down to one thing. Your voice. Your voice is the key to fluency. Not grammar, not vocabulary, not any app or book or method. Your voice. Use it every day, even a little, even imperfectly, even alone. Because every sentence you speak makes your fear smaller, your fluency stronger, and your confidence bigger. And one day, you will look back at this moment and realize something beautiful. You changed, Not because of a lucky moment, but because you kept speaking day after day, even when it was difficult. That is how fluency is built. That is who you are becoming. If this video helped you see something new today, share it with one person who is also learning English, because helping others is always a good habit. I will see you in the next video.